What's up, guys? Rick down here, Holy Moly Outdoors. Welcome back to another Tech Tip Tuesday. We're happy to be back with you guys here because we got a cool video to show to you. It is now March of 2019. Hard to believe we're already getting a little bit closer to spring, but we can't forget the great opportunities that are out in front of us right now to get on the water and put some really nice looking fish in the boat. So today we're going to go circle back to the Blackmouth fishing. I want to show you guys a little bit of rod selection that I like for a conventional versus mooching style rod. We're going to show you what I like to do for that stuff. So stay tuned. It's going to be good. Alright guys, so when we are talking specifically about rod selection for winter blackmouth, I really think that you have an opportunity later in the season, like we are in March in particular, at getting some larger fish. So I always have picked my rod selection based upon the style that I like to fish. And for blackmouth, I love, absolutely love, now it's also because I have the most confidence in it, but I really do enjoy fishing a flasher of any sort. This happens to be an Oki shooter custom, really good color for the winter blackmouth, or one of our spoons behind it. This happens to be a Holy Moly custom tried and true there. It's got teeth marks all over it. If I'm not fishing that, you guys have seen me also throw the old goat lures around, the 3.3 size. Get a little bit more daring and just go straight naked and run the 5-inch. But really, for blackmouth itself, you have options out there just up the kazoo. There are so many rod manufacturers that make great stuff out there. There are so many different styles you can go with. But for me, I break it down to two different styles. You have the conventional style, which is a baitcaster downrigger style rod that really is parabolic in its bend and works well off a downrigger load. The other side of that, and that's with a level winding reel. So you're looking at something like this. Very typical, standard, very, very easy to use. But if you go to the north, our Canadian friends have been doing this forever and a day, and let me tell you, there isn't something more fun that I've found than hooking a fish on the old knuckle buster. For those that don't know what that is, we're talking about a mooching style reel. These are a 1-to-1 ratio reel. When that fish goes, it goes. So when they call them knuckle busters, they mean it. If you're holding on to this and that fish takes off, whew, gotta get your hand out of the way. So we're gonna kind of go through why I like to fish those in different situations. So when you're picking a rod for downrigger fishing, for blackmouth in general, a lot of the big main companies, Shimano, Daiwa, G. Loomis, Lamaglass, they all have their own brands specific to downrigger fishing. So I personally don't use those. Many of you may know that. I do have a rod company that I work exclusively with, and that is Velocity. It's not to say that these other ones aren't good, but from my own personal experience, I look for a specific rod on that end of downrigger fishing. I want something that is fully parabolic. Something that, as you can see in the picture here, really loads up well on the downrigger, whether you're dragging bottom for blackmouth like we are right now, or you're fishing middle of the water column for silvers later in the year. Something like a rod will be versatile all throughout the year. I wanted something like that, and so I found it in the Velocity downrigger series that they have. This is a Salmon Extreme series, 9 foot. It happens to be a medium light, and it's a 6 to 15 pound ratio line. Now, that's not to say that this thing can't handle some big fish, because trust me, This thing has been put to test on Big Kings. It's been put to test on just about everything. And really, for me, is my all-around downrigger rod. So, the reason why Blackmouth comes into play with this one is I really like the balance, the feel, really works for the type of style fishing I like to do. Again, flashers and spoons, running straight bait, those all work really well with that velocity rod. Not too long ago, I did, however, get introduced into the mooching scene. And so it happened to be that I got blessed with, when I bought the Orca boat that I have now, it came with 2 sets of mooching rods with matching reels. Now, I already had a setup already, but this just added to the collection. And what this is it's a Shimano Convergence mooching style. And this is a 10-6, definitely has a little bit more backbone to it. It can handle up to 48 ounces of lead. That's 428. And then it's really a medium heavy with a slow action. So that means you have more backbone power to handle heavier things, but it's parabolic with the slow action. So it really bends from the cork to load all the way up. I really do like fishing these mooching style reels with a plug. Like this one here is from Pogue Plugs. I like fishing just a naked old goat lure or just straight bait in a helmet. But what a mooching style rod does for you, it gives a little bit more sporting to the actual fight. This is a little bit harder to reel in a big nice old Chinook than it is just to crank in a level 1 reel. So the pros and cons, there really, in my mind, isn't. It's all preference. If you've grown up and accustomed to the level 1 wheel, then I would definitely say that's your route to stick with. But if you want to venture out and try something new, put a new challenge into it, I would really go look at our mooching style setups, because that is just the Shimano Convergence reel, rod, and it's paired with a Shimano Moocher 1000 plus. So that is the reel itself. Showcase the backside, and again, it has a nice little drag deal on the front side with that spindle. You can really get some fun things happening. I mean, if you want to go fancy, you can go as fancy as you want. There's some great stuff out there, but the thing that I've also found between mooching versus the regular conventional downrigger setup is a price point. Because for me, I do have somewhat of a conscious budget on when I'm doing my fishing gear. Now, velocity rods won't break your bank, but they also are, I would put, in the toppest quality that's out there. I really, really love fishing those things. And I also then, with these Convergence rods, you know, they're 80 bucks. They really aren't that expensive. One of those reels you can find for roughly about the same. Always are online as well, like eBay and whatnot. So a conventional rod versus mooching, it's really all preference. With Blackmouth, you can have a lot of fun catching them in different ways, but when you start trying to change it up, put a challenge more to yourself, that mooching setup really, really showcases that. I mean, think about it. You're basically fishing an oversized fly reel, and if anybody's ever done fly fishing and you hook a giant fish, it's mano a mano, you versus the fish. So that's what that brings in the element of a mooching style versus the conventional. I think both are great. They both catch the same amount of fish. There's no difference one way or another. And if you want to just take what I said there to heart, it's more about what you want to do. What's your goals? For this season, for me, I want to get a fish, Chinook at least, in the saltwater over 20 pounds. And I can tell you, having that on a mooching setup will be an absolute hoot. It really becomes a battle of you being able to outsmart the fish and your technique in fighting it. So I think this is a topic that really isn't talked about too much out there in the world of fishing, is how to select the right gear for your application. So a conventional rod can do everything, absolutely, there are specialized rods that do more or can be used for more. And that Mooching Setup really brings out another opportunity to showcase some fun things. Now, when you're running just straight gear, no flashers, so you could run a naked spoon by itself, a plug by itself, or even just, I don't know what else you could run, spinners. There's so many different things. Just by itself with a Mooching Setup, you have way less drag. That's one advantage. You hook a fish playing on the Mooching Setup, you only have that to worry about, just you and the fish. Whereas conventional gear, you're potentially fighting the drag of everything else. So it's a lot of different pull to do this, and I think it's just so much fun. Gives a huge experience pump, and I think it's just really fun. So I really hope you guys can take a little bit from this today about trying something new. I mean, conventional gear is always great. It'll definitely catch you your fish, and that's what I'm confident in. But I also love putting a challenge to myself as well. When the opportunity precedes itself, you're able to go attack it and then feel the accomplishment of doing it on something new. So conventional rods, super effective, very easy. And again, all this stuff I'll put in the description below on what these are. Velocity, and then you got your mooching rods set up, ready to rock and roll. So thanks guys so much for watching this Tech Tip Tuesday tonight. Cannot wait to get on the water. We really, at this time of the year, have an opportunity at a giant springer coming into the Sound. It's a great chance to get out there and catch some fish. So stay tuned. There's going to be more fishing videos coming out. We got so much stuff on tap for 2019. You're going to want to stay tuned with Holy Moly. So take care, guys. Thanks so much, and fish on.